All right, let's talk about something truly wild from the Cold War. Out on the shores of the Caspian Sea, there's a ghost. It's a story of incredible ambition, of bending the laws of physics, and of a forgotten titan that was designed to completely change the rules of naval warfare forever. I mean, really, try to imagine it. You're walking along this remote beach and you see this thing. It's enormous, part plane, part ship, just rusting away. For decades, this machine was a total mystery, a top-secret Soviet weapon built to skim the waves and strike a fatal blow in a war that thankfully never happened. Now it's just this captivating, kind of bizarre relic, beached, abandoned, and slowly being reclaimed by nature. And that's the big question, right? Why on earth would you build something this massive, this strange? Well, this wasn't just some crazy experiment from a rogue engineer. No, this was a calculated, incredibly audacious move in the high-stakes chess match of the Cold War. And to really get it, you have to go back to that time of intense rivalry and unbelievable military innovation.
So let's set the scene. In the middle of the 20th century, the oceans were basically dominated by the American Navy, and specifically its huge aircraft carrier groups. The Soviet Union knew they couldn't just build more ships to compete head-on. They needed a game changer, something that could just bypass all the normal defenses. They needed what military folks call an asymmetric weapon.
And that's exactly what this was, an asymmetric response. It wasn't about fighting a carrier with another carrier. It was about creating a surprise attacker, a titan that could literally fly under the radar and rewrite the entire playbook of naval combat. It was this crazy fusion of a ship and a plane, designed to be way faster than any ship and a whole lot stealthier than any plane. I mean, just look at the advantages they were going for. The whole point was to make this thing undetectable and unstoppable. By flying just a few meters over the water, it stayed below the radar horizon of enemy ships. It was too high to be hit by torpedoes, but way too low for most anti-aircraft defenses. The plan was simple: appear out of nowhere, launch a devastating attack, and then just vanish before anyone knew what hit them. Okay, so the idea is brilliant. But how in the world do you get a 380-ton monster to glide just above the water at hundreds of kilometers an hour? The secret wasn't just about strapping on massive engines. It was about a really clever, almost elegant exploitation of a unique aerodynamic principle, a force of nature that was kind of hiding in plain sight. And it's all thanks to this phenomenon, the wing and ground effect. You might have felt a tiny version of this yourself. It's kind of like when you put your hand out of a moving car window, flat, and bring it close to the door. You feel that extra lift? Well, this is that, but on a colossal scale. As those massive wings get close to the water, air gets trapped and compressed underneath, creating this super high-pressure cushion that the whole thing just rides on. So you can see how it works. The wings trap the air, this cushion forms, and suddenly you get a massive boost in lift and a huge reduction in drag. The vehicle becomes incredibly efficient. By basically turning the surface of the sea into part of its own flight system, the Soviet engineers created something totally new. They weren't just building a machine, they were literally harnessing an unseen force of physics. And with that, they were ready to build a real monster. So, after years of secret development and testing prototypes, one of which was so gigantic that baffled Western intelligence analysts just nicknamed it the Caspian Sea Monster, a single operational warship finally rolled out. The MD-160, the one and only Lund-class Ekranoplan ever to be completed. And this thing could move. We're talking a maximum speed of 550 kilometers per hour while skimming the waves. To put that into perspective for you, that is nearly 8 times faster than the fastest American aircraft carrier at the time. An entire naval group would be a sitting duck. There's just no way to react in time. To get this beast moving, it needed brute force. And it got it from 8 massive Kuznetsov NK-87 turbofan engines all mounted up front. Each one of those engines could generate over 28,000 pounds of thrust. Their combined roar, their sheer power, was what it took to rip this flying fortress off the water and get it riding on that cushion of air. But remember, the Loon wasn't a transport plane. It was a Predator, a dedicated ship killer. And it was armed with 6 launchers for the P-270 Mosket anti-ship missiles. NATO had a nickname for these: Sunburn. Each missile was powerful enough to cripple a carrier, and, get this, could be tipped with a tactical nuclear warhead. The scale of this thing is just mind-boggling. A maximum takeoff weight of 380 tons? That's more than a fully loaded Boeing 747. This wasn't just a vehicle, it was a flying fortress, a true titan born from the Cold War. So on paper, it's a masterpiece of engineering, a perfect weapon. It's fast, it's stealthy,
It's devastatingly powerful. But, just like the Titans from mythology, this one had a secret weakness, an Achilles heel.
And the crazy part is, its flaw was so fundamental, so deeply connected to the very environment it was built to rule, that it would ultimately seal its fate. Its greatest strength, flying low to use that ground effect, was also, ironically, its greatest weakness. The Ekranoplan needed calm water, glassy seas. Even just moderately rough waves could mess up that air cushion, making flight totally unstable, dangerous, or even impossible. So for all its power, the monster was afraid of waves. And because of this one critical limitation, plus the massive changing tides of history, this Titan's reign was always destined to be incredibly short. I mean, just look at the timing. The MD-160 officially enters service in 1987. And just 4 years later, the Soviet Union, the very empire that dreamed it up, collapses. With the Cold War over, the funding for these kinds of exotic, super expensive military projects just vanished. The lone Ekranoplan was retired and basically left to rot for decades at a naval base.
And here's where the story gets almost poetic. A second one called the Spasatel, which means rescuer, was almost finished when the whole program got the axe. And it was being redesigned not as a missile carrier, but as a mobile field hospital. It's this perfect symbol of a nation's priorities shifting from military might to internal crisis. It was never finished.
So for 30 years, the completed MD-160 just sat there, in silence. Then, in 2020, they decided to tow it to a new home as a museum piece. But in a final ironic act of defiance, the Titan broke free during the tow, washed ashore, and got hopelessly stuck on a sandy beach. And that's where it is today, a bizarre and absolutely captivating landmark. And as soon as that happened, its image was everywhere. The internet went nuts. Its unexpected reappearance sparked this huge global fascination with this forgotten Cold War relic. The sleeping monster was awake again, but this time, not as a weapon, but as a ghost story everyone wanted to see.
But here's the thing. Even though the monster itself is grounded for good, its core idea is very much alive. That principle, the ground effect, is now being explored by all kinds of modern companies looking to build super fast, super efficient passenger and cargo vehicles. So, the technology that was born from conflict might actually find its true purpose in a time of peace.
So, what do we make of this thing? What's its legacy? Is it just a monument to failed ambition? A brilliant engineering feat that was just too specialized to work in the real world? Or is it a glimpse of a future that never happened? A testament to what humans can build when they push ingenuity to its absolute limits. Maybe the real lesson here is how even the most imposing technologies, things designed to project absolute power, can be brought down by something as simple as a wave or the fall of an empire. Today, the Titan is a tourist attraction, a ghost on the shore, just waiting for whatever comes next.